You said on or off?
Press it to full screen. So just press the button. There you go. Now it's on.
Okay.
Today's date is Monday, May 6, 2024. Calling to order the Baboquivari Unified School District Special Board Meeting. As I call the meeting to order, I'd just like to share and reiterate, as we have in the past, our vision, mission, and purpose statement for Baboquivari Unified School District. To not only encourage, but also to support all of the effort made by the administration and all of our schools within the district. Our vision statement is our students will be loved, encouraged, and prepared to take on the world by embracing our HIMDA. Our mission statement is we create healthy, inspiring, motivating, developing, achieving graduates. HIMDA is the autumn word, meaning, way of life. Our purpose statement is we create a nurturing learning environment for every child every day with an additional commitment to support our HIMDA. As representatives of the community and as representatives of all our stakeholders, as members of the community as well, it's important for us to continuously engage in the HIMDA, or the way of life of the Titana Autumn, as it is what we know and how we move forward in life. So with that, I will turn over the time now to Mr. Zabala for roll call.
Good evening. All those present, Juan Gordillo,
Again, hi, Chip.
Sylvia Hendricks,
And hi, Chip.
Alvin Greenfield, Anna Stevens.
And hi, Chip.
Okay, we do have a quorum. We'll continue with our meeting this evening. Letter C is the routine business. Number 1 is the approval of the May 3rd, 2024 special board meeting. Board members, anything, or is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Ms. Anna Marie Stevens.
Yep.
Second by Ms. Sylvia Hendricks.
All those in favor of this motion, Juan Gordillo,
Masapo.
Anna Stevens,
Sapo.
Sylvia Hendricks,
Sapo.
Alvin Greenfield.
Letter D this evening is our action items. Number 1, discussion and possible approval of the request for proposal award for modular solutions. Mr. Diaz.
President Medina, members of the board, members of the community, before I begin with the first recommendation, I want to take a minute to once again show our appreciation to our teachers. This week is Teacher Appreciation, and I want to make sure that we make it a point to also acknowledge all of the work, all of the efforts, all of the love, and all the commitment of our teaching instructional team towards our students and towards our community.
Your mic's not
we
on,
want to
sir.
thank them for everything that they do.
Your mic's not on.
Rewind.
No, you're fine. Keep going.
President Buendia, members of the community, and members of the board, I want to take a minute to acknowledge that this week is Teacher Appreciation Week, and I want to ensure that our teachers hear from us that we appreciate all of the work, all of the commitment, all of the love towards our students, and that their job is not only in the mornings, but they carry also the love and the concern of our students home. We wish them nothing but success. We wish them health, and not only for them, but also to their families. And once again, we thank them for every single child and for every single hour that they work with their kids.
Mr. Diaz, I'm sorry, I apologize. In the future, just make sure you're putting that on the agenda or making it an announcement, because we can't address anything without it being on the agenda.
Absolutely. I should have done it, and I apologize in advance, but I will take a risk to celebrate our teachers, given that it's a great week. And President Murillo, members of the board, this year, Baboquivari Unified School District, with the intention, number 1, of maximizing our funding, and number 2, being strategic in how are we going to be able to compete with our neighboring districts, not only within Pima County, but also throughout the state. It's providing teacher housing. And even though our district is currently offering teacher housing, it is in need of providing a little update. So we have allocated, as one of the projects for this year, $500,000 to begin the work on updating some our teacher housings that are in desperate need of some TLC. We have put out an RFP, and it was out for the required time, and only 2 companies went through, and they proceeded with the presentations, with the interviews, and the supported documentation. And based on the committee, I'm coming before the governing board to answer any questions, but also to provide the following recommendation to our governing board, which is I am requesting the governing board the approval of awarding the project to Modular Solutions. And I open for any questions.
Mr. Russell? Wanted to hear your comments, if any, on the project or any other project that we have.
Yeah, that was on.
It's on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had, we put an RFP out, we did meet with 3 companies, we narrowed it down to 2 companies. In narrowing it down to 2 companies, we met as a group and, discussed, our thoughts after we had met with them. And the company that we are asking for you to approve tonight, Modular Solutions, we've used them in the past in the district since I've been here. They did very good work. They crossed all the Ts and dotted all the Is of what we're looking for in the project. And hopefully, once we do this project, we can get one next year and in the next couple of years and get all the housing back up to, not to say it's a livable space, but now, people are living in there now, but I mean, to accommodate better
Living conditions.
living conditions, yeah, because some of the housing, as you may know, is, 50 years old, so we're just bringing it back to a better condition, especially the windows and doors, because it's all single pane and stuff like that. And there's a lot of the stuff that we can't fix as internal, we have to go outside and get some of this fixed, so hopefully with you guys approving this tonight, this will bring, more teachers and them at some point get some more housing. Right now we have 43 units. Total, that's including the superintendent's house, so once we get that all done, we'll be able to add hopefully maybe another 10 more units.
I don't have a problem, I know Modular Solutions, they're very good at what they do. I don't have an issue with the contractor. My only concern, and I say concern because I feel like it's, again, one of the only higher responsibilities we have as the board is to be mindful about not only these things, but how they reflect on the overall district. And to me, would you support or would you consider that? I don't disagree that these are needed. I don't that at all. But I know we are at the end of the school year, and yes, if it was allocated, it was done. My only question right now is why the timeline sits the way it is. And as much as we want to say, yeah, it'll get done, it's all perfect, it's on dandy, but a lot of that doesn't always happen the way that we need it to. So if we're working through the latter end of the school year, and this timeline says they'll be done by the end of June, but what if that doesn't happen? So, I mean, and I only ask that because why wouldn't we then look at what we have in the overall housing inventory, or the houses that we have, close some of them off, get them done early ahead of time, and then decide to move people in. I mean, I'm only saying that, I understand we have to be competitive, but at the same time, to me, it doesn't seem like it's always a sure thing that we're gonna get things done on time, because that seems to happen a lot with us. We have projects and contracts that go way beyond what they're supposed to do, and that's not our fault, not your fault, but it is out of our hands, and then we look like we're not doing what we're supposed to when it comes to utilizing funds the way we're supposed to, because then it costs more for us to have to do all of it, because it takes longer for us to get all of it done. So I'm just hopeful that whether my concerns are taken into consideration, and or we really work out how these contracts and what these committees are going to do when we're looking at these projects overall, and look at a better timeline to put us in a little bit of a standing. I don't know if you have any comment to that, but that's just what I feel like. And I only ask you because I know you have 2 positions that are supposed to be open for the housing, someone who fixes the homes, right?
Yeah, well, I have 3 positions total open. I have 5 maintenance people, And right now I only have 2. And I'm doing some of that help too, because we don't have enough people.
Right. So I just, I think it's gonna get, the way that we've seen the homes, and then this would kind of press again on whether the CFO or the superintendent are also gonna consider putting a little bit more of an emphasis on you need to take care of these homes when you're in these homes, because it starts to get out of hand. And it seems to be getting out of hand the way that the homes are being left. And I know we said that before and we made some changes to the agreement, but I think we need to get a little bit more serious about, yes, it's good cost of living, it's $200 a month or whatever it is, but it just seems like it's not appreciated to the degree that we need it to be and cared for.
I think a lot of it had to do with the budget and how much we were gonna have left at the end of the year. That's why this came up now. It would be nice if we jumped right into it, back into it in July and August, coming up for the 2024, 2025 school year, because this company is still gonna be here, and if
Yeah.
that's who we wanna go with, if we can just lead right into another, $500,000, because now we know how much we've already spent, so everybody else is gonna be minus that amount for the rest of the year out of their budgets. I think that might be better to do it that way, because then we'll have more time to complete some of these. And right now we have 6 or 7 units open right now, just in my head that I can count, and we have about 4 or 5 teachers that are leaving. So we're gonna have an abundant amount of houses that are gonna be open. So if we get, the faster we can turn these ones around before we let people move in July when school starts, is gonna help us out. There are a lot of them. I mean, a lot of the ones that are in pretty dire shape are the ones that people have lived there for, 6, 8, 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
That's because no one was doing anything and they weren't reporting stuff, until I got here, when we actually did a physical inspection of the units and stuff like that.
Right.
So it's not that the people that are moving out now, since we changed it and they put a deposit down, that they have the cleaning deposit, it's changed overnight.
Okay.
But it's the units that are, like I say, 6, 8, 10 years that people have been there. Those are the ones that people are coming out of that need a lot of the work.
Okay. The other thing I would ask about being mindful is, I know our fiscal year runs a little differently than the nation's, and right now the nation's fiscal year is coming to an end, which means they're gonna start to slow down on all the things that they're doing.
Yes.
Which means when we're trying to gear up, they're coming to a close.
Yes, I know that.
Something to also be mindful of, because it stops what we're trying to do when we gotta be mindful, we understand we're not the only fiscal year here.
Correct.
And I just think about that when considering what we're here to do and be a resource for, I would hope that that's taken into consideration. Mr. Diaz,
President Mondia, members of the board.
your mic, sir.
President Mondia, members of the board. And also to answer your questions, one of the reasons why this specific vendor came ahead is for the following reasons. Yes, we do need a very aggressive timeline. And the solution that they provided is, number one, is that they're going to bring the entire crew to be able to live here in the nation while they're working. Number two, they're going to have a superintendent on site to be able to oversee the work. Number three, they're going to bring containers with all of the materials that they need and they foresee that they're going to need for the renovation to prevent any driving or going back and forth. So they gave us not only a timeline, but also they gave us multiple solutions in which they were going to be able to be more successful than the other companies. And number four, they are familiar with the terror process and they're familiar with the landscape and they're familiar with their needs. So based on those characteristics and observations and the way they have answered our questions and how they're going to overcome those challenges, they show a plan for the seen and also the unseen.
Yeah. Like I said, I've worked with Mitzi, Brandon, and all them before. It's not, I have no doubt that they're gonna do what they need to. I just wanna make sure that we're mindful. I gave some pretty good recommendations, hopefully. I don't know if the board has anything else regarding this project.
If there isn't any other questions, I think that the information that you've gotten and everybody shared, I think is well and due, and I'm anxious, because I think, yeah, you're right, those are very old. I used to babysit in them when I was in high school,
Yeah.
so they're fairly,
I have some workers that have said that they were in high school or they were in middle school when those were there.
yeah. So with that, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve.
I want a second, but if I could add just a caveat and a directive to Mr. Diaz on, and I guess the CFO, just a closeout of all of the projects and the cost and the expense by the end of the year. And you'll probably do that anyway, but I just want to make sure that that's reiterated from the board standpoint.
Absolutely.
Okay? That was my second. But
And I will try to get you guys a weekly update once we start construction from demo. I'll send you stuff. So
Okay.
we've already talked about that with them.
You don't want me to second?
Okay, just to be clarified, I have a motion on the floor to approve action item number 1 for the award of the modular solution, with the directive for information regarding finances to close out all projects by the end of the year for the board.
oh, yeah,
Is that right?
yes.
All those in favor, Juan Godin,
No sapo.
Anna Stevens,
What's up?
Sylvia Hendricks,
Masapo.
Elme Greaser, motion carries.
Kathy's here.
Masapo.
Good events.
Oops. Yeah.
Kathy?
Thank you. Number 2 this evening, board, is discussion and possible approval of the summer 2024 culture teacher planning hours. Mr. Diaz?
President Buendia and members of the board, after reviewing the progress on our dual language program, based on the progress of our students, we are in the need of opening now a higher level of autumn language. And to do so, we are requiring our teachers not only to come back this summer, but also work on reviewing some of the lesson plans that they have for this past year, but also create the lesson plans and the curriculum for the next level in autumn. So what I'm coming to before the governing board, it is recommending the approval of up to 8 teachers to work up to 40 hours each staff member to develop lesson plans and materials aligned to the scope and sequence that we created in conjunction with the Tohono O'odham Department of Education and Baboquivari Unified School Districts. Teachers will be under the supervision of the superintendent, and evidence of the completion will include that time and effort logs and the lesson plans completed. The goal is to complete at least the first level of the next scoping sequence for level 1 and level 2. We anticipating 8 teachers, 40 hours, a total of $28 an hour, for a total of $8,960 plus 20% of benefits, totaling $10,792. And this project will be funded through Title VI Indian Education Funds. And on the second page, there's a description of what's expected of them by the end of those 2 weeks.
Couldn't click on the link for the proposed team members. It didn't open.
Oh, that's the form that we created so they can submit if they're interested working this summer. It's a Google form.
You know who?
So far, we do have 6 already that submitted that they're interested. We are waiting to see, we will be able to bring it back on the next board meeting on the 14th to determine how many have completed the form.
Okay. Any other questions on the board?
I motion to approve.
Motion by Ms. Anna Marie Stevens. Second by Ms. Sylvia Hendricks.
All those in favor of the motion, Juan Godin,
No sapo.
Kathleen Dash,
Masapo.
Anna Stevens,
What's up?
Sylvia Hendricks,
Masapo.
Elme Greaser, motion carries.
Okay, motion carries. Number 3, number 3 is discussion and possible approval of Brian Brown Youth Academy female counselor position. Mr. Diaz.
President Medina, just like last year, there's going to be the same Brian Brown Youth Academy, and there's a couple of positions. The first one will be to have a female counselor. In this position, it will be Funded. It's the last of SR one. It is 61 hours, 32 hours for a total of $2,775.50.
The only reason I would ask any further questions is because the last I remember, whether this was a BUSD camp or not, I don't remember it being kind of the responsibility of ourselves. It was a camp created through what, Brian Brown? I mean, I know it just got changed to Brian Brown Academy after his passing. But I don't remember. I mean, does this mean then that this person is going to have to apply, go through all of the processes that they need to for the district because we're funding it? Then when is it going to be open? Who's going to? What is the job description? Where? All of those things that need to be done before we approve all of that. I don't remember approving this, and if we did, then I guess, but it didn't. I don't know that we should be. I mean, that's just from me. But when and where did we agree to start doing that? I know our SEL director goes over there, which I don't know that we're paying. I mean, if we are paying her for that, then okay. But there's, I think, our contribution to the overall academy, which I think TOPD, and then if Brian Brown Foundation or whatever it is also funding. To what degree are they funding, and so on and so forth. But that will be my understanding then, if this is the position and the role, how does that hiring process look? It's going to have to go through the district's hiring process, I would say. And you would have to open it to everybody. And I don't want to make it so that there's someone already chosen and we're just creating a position for them. That's where I don't want that to come from. Just for everyone's equal opportunity to be able to apply if that's the case. But I didn't know that this was what we were doing. Okay. Go ahead, Sylvia.
Well, I know that we've done this in the past in collaboration with the police department, and which, I thought was, a great camp, for people, for our students throughout. I mean, it's for all students, not just BUSD students.
Right.
But I do agree that I didn't know, I mean, you're asking for approval for a position, but I don't see do we have a job description, salary?
There's some breakdowns, but
Yeah, but I don't, I mean, basically, and like, who is this person going to report to, all those things that have to be actually stated in a job description.
Okay. Having said that, I don't have the answers with me at this point, and I don't want to speak or mislead you or give you the wrong information. I'll be more than happy to bring this back during the regular board meeting and have Ms. Corden. I did not get any questions during or for briefings. I could have gotten those ahead of time, so I apologize if I don't know that information. But I'll be more than happy to either postpone those, anything related to the Brown Academy for the regular board meeting, so I can have my ESS director to answer the questions and provide the additional documentation needed.
So,
go ahead.
so I'm assuming that's for both number 3 and 4?
Oh,
Because that's also a position.
That is
you're
correct.
asking for.
and I would just say, for the sake of future, that's what's expected. We're not going to just approve a position without all of that information, documentation. Where is it gonna? Who's the supervisor? Because you could present anything you want, but I think there needs to be a time where you would understand, or your HR would understand. If you're creating a position, they're going to want to know all of this information, because that's what I would look to right away. So just for future reference, again, whether the question was posed or not, I feel like there's things that have been set in precedent, and one of those is job description. If we're going to create a position, no matter what it is, and I think if that's not the case, and we're not, if we've never asked for that, and That would be my hugest concern, but I know if we're creating a position. And again, I think on the side of that is collaborating with TOPD for a camp is all fine, like Ms. Sylvia had said, it helps everyone. But then to what degree is everyone else helping, and where is it coming from? Just because that would be the question that they would ask, we're asking those things of them. Common courtesy, like, the school's gonna put in this, you guys are gonna do this. Our SEL director, which gets paid a pretty hefty salary, is already participating, and so on and so forth. So
Point noted, President Mundia, thank you.
with that, well, board without, go ahead, Sylvia. Unless
No,
you-
I was just gonna say, I was just gonna go ahead and table
Yeah, yeah.
the number
3 and 4.
2 and, or 3 and 4. But also that, I guess, basically, I think this sounds like more like a part-time position or seasonal position or something, I don't know, and how that works, you know, with HR and everything. So basically, and I think also because, I think we basically have to cover, especially if there's an audit, you know, in positions that,
I don't want to give the wrong information. I have, based on what occurred last year, but I don't want to misrepresent. I feel more comfortable, just like in the past, do the additional research and bring you the facts.
okay, well, I'm making the motion to table 3 and 4.
A motion to table number 3 and 4 this evening. I'll second the motion.
Motion on the table, motion, table, action item 3 and 4. All those in favor of Juan Montiel,
Masapo.
Anne Stevens,
Masapo.
Sylvia Hendricks,
Masapo?
Kathleen Vance,
Masapa.
Ellen Griesel.
Okay. Number 5 this evening, moving on, is our discussion and possible approval of the Don culture teacher salary schedule. Mr. Diaz?
President Buendia and governing board members, there are 2 salary schedules that we still need to review. And these are for the next one is for the autumn culture teachers that have not completed or passed the test. Before you, I have the proposed salary schedule for this group of employees. So I'm asking for your review and for approval for this so that we can offer them a contract for next school year.
Mr. Diaz, is there a, and please, you could just send this to us later, like last year's?
Like, I'm
Like
sorry?
last year's, what is the difference? What's the change?
I'll be happy to do that, side-to-side comparison of both of them. It's a 2%.
Oh, go. Oh, okay, yeah. Represents 2% increase. Oh, okay. Thank you, Ben. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Ben. Mhm. I'd love to, man.
Just
All
like
right.
a Christmas bonus.
Right. I don't have any other questions, board, anything?
Motion to approve?
Motion by Ms. Anna Marie Stevens. Numay Damch, is there a second? Ms. Kathleen Vance. Masapo.
Masapo.
Masapo? Masapo.
Number 6 this evening's discussion and possible approval of OT-PT salary schedule. OT, I assume, is?
Occupational therapist.
And physical therapist. Mr. Diaz.
President Mondia, members of the board, similarly, this salary schedule is for the upcoming school year, and it also represents a 2% increase.
Mr. Diaz,
Yes,
this
sir.
one says it includes 7 paid holidays, but the other one doesn't. Is that the same as far as the culture teacher and then this one? It includes 7 paid holidays and steps represent 2% increases.
They are different groups. One of them is a certificated, the other ones are not,
Okay.
President Mondia.
No Mike Titicaca. Are there any other questions?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go ahead and make the motion to approve.
I have a motion by Ms. Sylvia Hendricks, Nomahit Damch. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Anna Marie Stevens.
All those in favor of the motion, Juan Revere,
Masapo.
Anna Marie Stevens,
Masapo.
Sylvia Hendricks,
Masapo.
Kathleen Van,
Masapa.
Melanie Griesel,
Number 7, this evening, discussion on possible approval of archery waiver. Ms. Diaz?
President Rendia, members of the governing board, we have one activity that is coming to our high school during Bible Day, and upon reviewing the activity with our trust, the trust has made the recommendation that we will need to have a waiver. So I'm coming before the governing board to also review the memo, and we recommended the Baboquivari Unified School District Governing Board to approve the waiver as presented.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion by Ms. Anna Marie Stevens. Second by Ms. Kathleen Vance.
all those in favor of the motion, Juan Revere,
Masapo.
Anna Marie Stevens,
Masapo.
Sylvia Hendricks,
Masapo.
Kathleen Van,
Masapa.
Melanie Griesel,
That'll conclude our action items this evening. Letter E is our consent agenda, a consent agenda without objection. A motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Sylvia Hendricks.
all those in favor of the consent agenda, Juan Revere,
Masapo.
Anna Marie Stevens,
Masapo.
Sylvia Hendricks,
Masapo.
Kathleen Van,
Masapa.
Melanie Griesel,
That will conclude our agenda this evening. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sylvia Hendricks. I'll second the motion.
all those in favor to go home, Juan Revere,
Masapo.
Anna Marie Stevens,
Masapo.
Sylvia Hendricks,
Masapo.
Kathleen Van,
Masapa.
motion carried.
6:03 p.m.